Okay, so yeah, welcome to today's video. So today we are going to look about the second topic in AI project cycle, that is data acquisition. So in data acquisition, okay, we are going to look about data acquisition. How do you acquire the data? Okay, how do you acquire the data? And mainly what we are going to focus is on how students will get familiar in acquiring in acquiring more data. Okay, and then to get familiar in acquiring data, and then what are data features. Okay, I would say these are like different types of what are the data features. And next but not the least, we are going to see about system maps. Okay, so don't worry that it is sounding little bit too technical, but I will explain everything in detail very shortly and very crisply. I will try to explain everything in detail. So these are the three topics which we are going to cover. So how students will get more familiar in understanding the data, and what are the different types of data features and system maps. Okay, yeah, we'll see one by one. So coming to like okay, in data acquisition, mainly when we know about what is the problem, when we try to recognize, okay, this is the problem, for this only I have to prepare a solution. Next step after that, knowing the problem, who am I going to help, and knowing about more about the problem, what can play the next major role in our AI modeling is the data. So the data is the integral part of our AI model. So without the data, we cannot predict anything, or we cannot get the desired output. So the data is very much important. So how much ever the data is more genuine and more accurate, the more accurate results we get in the output. So how much ever it is cleansed, it is more cleansed and more it should not have any more missing values or null values. And how much ever it is more authentic and genuine, the more greater results we get. So these both are directly proportional. Okay, and more if it is like more adulterated, or it is like having more null values or missing values, our output is also going to be less accurate. It will not give us the accurate result. So always data collection, that is called data acquisition. So how do you get the data? Okay, to understand this term, I have we need to acquire relevant data in order to understand our problem more better, and we will know what are the elements needed and how they are interconnected between each other. Okay, so the first thing which you have to understand in this topic is about how to acquire data. So acquiring data, like it can be through many ways. Okay, so data is available everywhere. If you see nowadays, data is been like everywhere. So since we are moving into a more technology related like upcoming generation is exposed more into the technology. So how much ever more we are into the technology, that much level of data is going to get produced. Okay, how we are going to deal with the data? Okay, so for example, it can be via surveys, or it can be via web scraping. If you go online and if you see some information and you try to get those information and use it for your personal project. Okay, so how we are going to get via web scraping. So that only we call it as web scraping. Web scraping is nothing but you go online, you see some data, maybe from Wikipedia or any other website where it gives a genuine information. You try to get the data and you try to use it for your own purpose. Okay, and from IoT devices, we have many IoT devices like in our homes, like Alexa or any other devices. Okay, it can be anything like Internet of Things, we call it as Internet of Things. It produces data now and then. So we have to collect and we have to analyze it. And then camera, in all our homes we have the surveillance camera, right? So this surveillance camera really helps us how to, like, whoever is coming inside our home or going. So for protection purpose we use these type of camera. And yes, it is taking a lot of storage space. Since it is a video running equipment, it takes a lot of space, right? So in that also we call it as a data. So the data features, what I mean is, it can be of numbers. Okay, it can be of row and column one format. It can be numbers, or it can be a video, it can be an audio format, or it can be any kind of raw information you get, okay, that we call it as a raw data. Okay, so it is not yet processed, it is just a raw data we get, so that we call it as a different types of features, data features and observations. And through API is nothing but application programming interface. When we are trying to connect to another application via one environment to another environment, when we try to pull the data from that source to here, so that we call it as APIs. So from these many places we can get the data. The only thing, when you are going online, you as a student, when you are going online and when you want to scrap a data, please make sure that it is not copyrighted data, because when you are working for your own purpose, it has to be your creative mode. You cannot copy someone's work and you cannot reproduce it here, right? So copyright is one main problem which we are facing nowadays. So copyright, if it is copyrighted by any other organization, I cannot use it directly. So please make sure that it is an open source data when you are downloading, when you are using your data for any commercial purpose. Okay, so the many government websites are there. Okay, like I would say data.government.in. If you go in, you will get many details, okay, regarding health and family welfare and agriculture or population census. Many details we can go and download it from there. So that is like there is no restriction, we can use it how much ever we want, just we can go download it from that. Okay, so government they themselves they upload in such government portals, so we can use it. So just make sure anything you are using it for, if you are using it or reproducing it, it is not a copyrighted, or it is not an someone else work. Okay, so that one alone you have to be very more careful. So at this time, why do I have to collect data? So that is one question. Okay, so why do I have to, what is the importance for me to collect a data? Why do I have to collect a data? Okay, so why means, like I would say, why data is more important. Okay, why data is more important? I would say because so for example, there is a person, okay, and he is working in a company, okay, and he has been working for past 12 months, okay, and you want to predict his next month salary. So you already have the data for the past 12 months and you want to predict for the next month, okay, how much salary he has to get. So that in our model, for example, I'm telling, in our model, when we are feeding the data, right, we are going in and feeding the past 12 months data. If there is any bonus, or if there is any increment percentage is given, any other details associated with the salary, along with that we will be feeding into our model. Okay, so that the past data which we are feeding into the model, right, so that we call it as a training data or test data. Okay, so why we are giving test data? Why we are giving test data to our model? Mainly because we want to predict. Okay, so there what happens? Prediction happens. We are going to predict. Prediction. Okay, so prediction of next month salary. Okay, we are going to predict his next month salary. So that's why we are going to we are getting his past 12 months salary. Okay, so what happens here? Before we do not know, maybe this is just a one case I'm telling, but what if it is like for 100 people? Okay, for each and every person we cannot be calculating manually, so we need some help of these kind of AI systems. So computer or calculator cannot be doing it for you think like for 1 lakh people or 2 lakh people, each and every person or each and every one person, single person cannot be calculating it manually, right? So at that time what we can do for all this, when we do it in a large scale, we feed it into the AI model. So that is where the AI model comes into the picture. So we feed into the AI model, and the how much ever authentic and genuine, how much the correct salaries we we are giving, right, and all the related informations we are giving to the system, and similar to that we are going to get the output. Okay, so please make sure your training data and test data, okay, or test data is more accurate. So that is what I wanted to tell here. It has to be more accurate. It has to be more accurate. Which one? Our training data. Our training data has to be more accurate. Our training data has to be more accurate. The more accurate it is, the good level of output we get. Okay, the good level of output, desired output. I would say desired output. So everything is somehow it is related to each other, I would say. Okay, so our accuracy, our genuineness, and our test data plays a major role in getting the desired results of from our AI model. Okay, so once we so this is one example why we have to collect the data. Okay, and then I told about the last point, right? The other one which I wanted to discuss is the system maps. Okay, so system maps is nothing but let us take this as an example. So for example, we are living in an environment. Okay, so we are living in a system. Okay, a system has multiple elements. Okay, elements like I would say, for example, I will take an example of a water cycle. You know what is the process of the water cycle. Okay, so if you see during the summer time, the sun will from the water reservoir, it will abstract all water, and it will be condensed in the clouds, and during the rainy season, from the clouds the water will again come to the earth, and again it will go back to the reservoir, and this is like a cyclic process happening throughout the year. So this is the process of the water cycle. So like that in our system, right? So whichever elements we are taking, everything is dependent on each other, or everything is related to each other. So in the previous example I told about salary. So salary, when I talk about salary, then related to that bonus, that is related to salary, and increment percentage is related to salary. So like that, when I take multiple elements, everything will be related to that one particular topic. So if I talk about system maps, when any kind of data you take, okay, whether you are going to work on like a numerical data or any data in any theme, okay, so everything will be related to each other. So for that I will give you an example. I will show you an example. So if I go to this HTTP URL, right, this is the loopy. So what system maps I'm just explaining. So if you see, I will explain about one, and you will try to understand. You will be able to understand. I'll just erase all the other things. Okay, so okay, so here if you see like there are like red circles are there and blue circles are there. Okay, and some are like in a plus sign indicated, and some here minus sign is not there, but I have seen other examples also where minus sign was given. So what does that means? When this is an explanation of how jobs are getting, when automation is increased, how job loss is going to happen. Okay, when automation is increased, right, profit is going to increase. That is the first step. Profit is going to increase. So they both are directly proportional. When automation increase, profits increase in the company. Okay, so since they are relative to each other, directly proportional, so it is indicated by a plus sign. But what happens when something goes down? But what about human workforce? So when automation increases, human workforce decreases. So they both are inversely proportional too. So we have to indicate by a minus sign. Just try to understand this. Okay, that the understanding part is more important. So I'm just wanted to tell how they are related to each other. So when automation increases, the profit increases. When the profit increases, automation increases. Okay, and then there happens a job loss. Job loss also increases. So that increases the frustration, and that increases the political unrest. Okay, but when in the other hand, when the profit increases, the tax revenue of the government also increases. So this So this is one type of what I would say related to each other. So every action has an equal and opposite, or it is like something related to each other. So when every action will have an impact, right? So everything is related to each other. So that is what I wanted to convey. I will just share this link in the chat. You can also take a look of it. Okay, so in today's video, this is what we are discussing about the data acquisition, how student is will get more familiar in acquiring the correct data, and what are the different types of data features, and the system maps, what are the system maps. Okay, yeah, that's it for today's video. See you in the next one.